Is your house sitting on the market and you're wondering why it is not selling? On today's episode of Unlocking Doors, Michelle and I are going to discuss that and the steps to take to get that property sold. All right, Michelle. So right now, if you look at housing inventory levels across North Texas, across the country, really, we are seeing more homes for sale, and we're seeing it take a little bit longer, in some markets a lot longer, for a property to sell. And a lot of people are asking, why is my home not selling? What are you kind of hearing on the lending side? Because I'm sure you work with buyers too that are like, yeah, buyers and sellers. What are you hearing whenever they call and say, hey, like, is it my realtor? Is it the market? Is it my house? Do you ever get any of that?
Yeah. I hear a lot from real estate agents too. Hey, can you take a look at this house and tell me why the house isn't selling? And my number one question is, how does it price comparatively?
Right. Yeah.
I think there's that whole misunderstanding. I mean, the market is not what it was 90 days ago.
Right.
So number one is, did you price the house to sell, or did you price it based on what you were wanting to get?
Right. I think that is the most important question. And I think looking at not just the most recent sold properties whenever you're pricing, but also looking at what's active and pending. And, one thing right now is, so we are in a buyer's market, meaning buyers have more options to choose from. It's super competitive for sellers to get their property to stand out. And I always tell people, when your property's not selling, it's usually one of three things. The first one is price, which we have control over. We can go up, we can go down, we can stay where we're at. The second one is condition of the property. Okay, there's four things. So condition of the property. Is there anything that we need to do to make it stand out a little better, show a little better? And that's usually based on showing feedback, or maybe we're not getting showings. Then that leads me to believe maybe it's price.
But I really even think, know your competition. What is the standard condition of houses in this price range?
Right, exactly. So you've got price, you've got condition, location. We can't control location. And then the one that everyone, and I get this a lot, my sellers always are like, well, we don't know that we don't think you're doing enough to market the property. So that can be a thing. And they don't say that to me. I'm not, yeah, people aren't saying that to me. That's something that people will say to a realtor. They'll say, well, we just don't think you're being aggressive enough and getting enough exposure on our listing. And sometimes that is the case, or getting the right exposure. Because there are some agents who will walk through a house with their cell phone, snap some pictures, and they'll put it on MLS, and that's all they do.
Well, and I want to stop you just for a minute and tell the audience really how much a real estate agent invests to get good quality pictures and videos. I mean, it's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap at all. So I mean, with photos are actually fairly affordable. I'm not going to lie that they're just astronomical. Yeah, it's not just thousands of dollars, but by the time we pay for photos, a video walkthrough tour, maybe an Instagram reel or a YouTube short type video. Another thing that we've started doing recently is the Zillow showcase listings. Not only do we have to pay for the media for that, because it's different, it's a floor plan and a 3D tour, we also have to pay to have it on Zillow. So that's
time is money.
And time is money. So, I mean, the size of the house depends on it, but we're investing quite a bit of money up front before the property even goes on the market. Not to mention, once we do get it on the market, we have ongoing ads that cost money to have those listings in place. And like I said, some people will take photos with a cell phone and then they'll put it on MLS, and that's all that they do. So marketing can be a big thing. One thing that I think is the biggest part of your marketing strategy is your price. Price is marketing. And if you're at a point where you're not getting showings, it's probably either one, how the listing looks online, or two, it's the price and how the market or buyers perceive that price. And if they look at it and say, that price isn't for me, I'm not going to go look at it because I feel like we're too far, like what that seller wants and what I'm willing to pay is too far off. So I'm not even going to go look at it.
Yeah, I was talking to a real estate agent the other day, and she's had the house has been on the market for 90 days.
Yep.
And has not had a single showing. So then the question, I just go down that list.
Yeah.
And when we get to the price, which is where I should have started,
Mm-hmm.
the price was not what she suggested the price should be. And that was 90 days ago.
Yeah.
And if the house hasn't sold in 90 days and it wasn't priced right, I mean, the price might have come down in the last 90 days. So that's a harder conversation than it could have been in the very beginning.
Right. Absolutely. A lot of people have the mindset of like, well, let's price it high and see what happens. And I've been doing this 11 years now. And I know what happens when you price it high to see what happens. It sits there.
Aged listing.
Yeah, it sits there, and then you as the seller are chasing after the market. And at that point, sellers will start asking me, well, where do you think we should price it now? And it's really tough for me to say because we're chasing the market, we're chasing the demand. And so that's why.
And I think a buyer looks at that and goes, this house has been on the market for 90 days, I'm going to lowball an offer.
Yeah.
Well, that's not winning anybody any favors. I mean,
Yeah.
for the seller.
Yeah, exactly. And so it doesn't.
Perception.
Yeah, it is perception. And the crazy thing to me is, so before 2020 and 2021, if a property sat on the market for 90 or 120 days, that was normal. Buyers wouldn't ask, hey, what do you think's wrong with it? It's been on the market for a month and nobody's made an offer. Like, why hasn't it sold? The number one answer I give back to that is, well, it hadn't sold because you haven't made an offer. Nobody's made an offer. There's nothing wrong with the house. Like, just make an offer if you want it. And you have to, like you said, you kind of have to read the situation. Maybe you can come in a little bit lower, but 90 or 120 or even kind of creeping up close to 150 days is not uncommon to see for listings now, depending on what price point they're at.
But I think that you should have had some showings. If your house is priced right.
Yes.
And it's in a decent location and the curb appeal is good and you've got, good pictures of it, you should have had some showings at 90 days.
Yes, absolutely. And once again, if you're not having showings, 99% chance it comes back to price, 1% chance that your realtor is not doing a good enough job. And if your realtor's not doing a good enough job and it takes you 90 days to say something, that's also kind of on you. Like if you look at your listing online and you're like, I don't know, it kind of looks like trash compared to everything else I'm seeing. Like it's a little bit on you. You should call your realtor up and say, hey, this isn't going to cut it.
But let's just be honest too. If you've got pictures of it, I think about the dating sites, your picture needs to match how you really are. So, I mean, if you've got these great pictures, your house needs to stay in good condition when people walk through.
I don't know anything about these dating sites, but I'll just take your word for it.
I mean, but I've heard about them. I'm not on them.
Sure. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. To be looking for my profile.
I know. Anyways, I get what you're saying. Like, don't catfish the buyers when they show up.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what the kids call it.
See?
Yeah. Anyways, so I think
That's another episode. Don't catfish the buyers.
yes, or your Tinder date.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I do think if your house isn't selling,
Serious now?
I know I'm trying to like get regain composure. So, if you're in that situation where your house isn't selling, you're not getting showings. These aren't the most fun conversations for sellers to have or for realtors to have, but if you're doing your job as a real estate agent, you're at least talking to your clients and saying, hey, here's what I've been doing to market the property. Here's the results we've had, and we still haven't had any showings, which tells me that, we do need to readdress the pricing issue. Or if you're getting showings and no offers, it might be just slightly, the price needs to be slightly adjusted. So there's all kinds of things, but that's where an open dialogue with your clients and sellers and realtors and all that comes into play.
I can't imagine having that conversation. No fun.
Yeah. I get to have it quite often. Well, not too often, but I think the biggest thing is and this is advice to realtors right now. If you have property listed, you should be talking to your sellers on a weekly basis, updating them on what the market's doing, what you're doing, what the property's doing, any feedback. The worst thing for a homeowner is to go a month, 2 months, and be wondering, hey, what's going on with my listing? And then they get a call that says, I think we should drop the price. And it's like, wait, why are we dropping the price? Like, what have you done to like market the property? And so all that to say, it's an open dialogue that needs to happen between seller and realtor.
And we're just not at the market's just not such that you can expect to sell right away.
Right. And I think that's another big thing is, for me at least, is setting that expectation for my sellers. If somebody, and everybody thinks their home's different.
Right.
I listed a spec home that I built, and I was like, this will probably sell pretty quick. But I knew in the back of my head, like, that's not what the market says is going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, but it's one that I built.
My house, it's special.
Yeah, it's special. It's not. The market is the one that dictates that. And so I think having those realistic expectations.
So we can't have an ego?
Uh,
Set aside.
Yeah, I really have to set my ego aside whenever I'm pricing my listings that I personally own. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I think just having realistic expectations also helps with that. And if you're a seller and your realtor's coming to you saying, here's the data, here's what the market shows, and you're like, yeah, but I think it's worth more. I'm sure you do think it's worth more. But if you tried at that price and you're not getting any results, then I think it's time for you to humbly go back to the realtor and say, hey, let's,
Might have been right.
yeah, you might have been right. Where do you think we need to price it? But once again, that goes back to now we're chasing the market, and it can be tough to find where you're going to meet those buyers at what price point. So anyways,
No fun.
no fun.
I mean, really, it's not that it's not fun. I think you just have to be smart and put a strategy together
Yeah.
up front.
Yeah, absolutely. With an open mind. And really, if you are thinking about selling and you're considering putting your house on the market, or maybe you're listed right now, and this even goes with some of my clients, if you're listed right now and you're wondering why the house isn't selling, I can guarantee you that we are doing everything we can to market the property. Anything that can be done is being done by the Meals team. I'll just say that. Just have a conversation with your realtor on what's going on. And good realtors are keeping their clients updated, but
Being honest with those conversations.
yes, that's another big thing is, don't spare anybody's feelings on the front end just trying to get a listing. That's advice for realtors. So that's all I've got for this episode. If you have any questions about what the market's doing, what your home's worth, or where mortgage rates are at, or strategies around mortgages, give us a shout. We'd love to help you out. Thanks for checking out this episode of Unlocking Doors, and we'll see you on the next one.